is everybody's green lights on their microphones? Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, we ready to go on the record? Mr. Court, are we okay to go on there? Okay, great. Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Today is July 31st. It's approximately 1 p.m. We're here in case number 9759, which is titled The Application of Chaberton Solar Pahar, LLC, for a Certificate of Public Convenience and Necessity to construct a 3-megawatt solar photovoltaic facility in Caroline County, Maryland. My name is Christine Burke. I'm a public utility law judge with the Maryland Public Service Commission. We're here for the evidentiary hearing. Can I have appearances of counsel, beginning with the applicant, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. My name is Andy Flavin with the law firm Troutman Pepper Locke, LLP, and I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Chaberton Solar Pahar, LLC.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sandra McLemore, Assistant Attorney General, and it's spelled S-O, is it? Can you hear now?
Can you hear?
Sandra McLemore, Assistant Attorney General, representing the Power Plant Research Program. Would you like me to spell it?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I'm Jennifer Purvis, Assistant Staff Counsel, appearing on behalf of the staff of the Public Service Commission.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jesse Hammock on behalf of the County Commissioners of Caroline County, Maryland.
Good afternoon. It's my understanding that the parties are stipulating to exhibits, so we can start with Chaberton. If you want to just begin running through, I did receive your list. I'll stop you if there's any questions I have, but we can just begin entering, and I will just note proposed Exhibit 1 on your list was entered on January 31st, 2025 at the pre-hearing conference, which is the certificates of publication, so we can start with Exhibit 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if I may, just a preliminary matter before we get into that. Speaking with Mr. Hammock and counsel for staff and PPRP, as you may remember, we shifted the evidentiary hearing date in this case to July 31st, and at the time we did not make any adjustments to the briefing schedule.
Yes, I'm aware.
I understand, speaking with Mr. Hammock, that he may have some conflicts, but we've all spoken, and I believe all the attorneys here on behalf of the parties are would like to request, or at least would not be opposed to, extending the briefing schedule by 1 week for each of the dates.
And actually, we'll get to that, address it at the end, because there's a potential that I might have some additional questions that witnesses don't have responses to today that may require some time in addition as well. So we'll adjust accordingly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay. May I move on to the applicant's exhibits
Yes,
now?
please.
Thank you. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 2 the cover letter and certificate of service for the application filed on October 17th, 2024 under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 3 the petition filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant as applicant exhibit 4 the application appendix filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 5 the ERD narrative filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 6 the ERD appendix 1, which is the interconnection application filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 7 ERD appendix 2, which is the Waters of the United States report filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 8 ERD appendix 3, which is the forest stand delineation filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant exhibit 9 ERD appendix 4, which is the DNR Wildlife and Heritage Services correspondence, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 10, ERD Appendix 5, which is correspondence from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 11, ERD Appendix 6, which is Part 1 of the Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 12, ERD Appendix 6, Part 2 of the Phase 1 Environmental Site Assessment, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. And may we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 13, ERD Appendix 7, which is the geotechnical report, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
And, Your Honor, if I may just briefly note, when I sent that exhibit list out, I accidentally listed the number of pages on the geotechnical report as 45 pages. It's actually 56. I apologize for that discrepancy. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 14, ERD Appendix 8, which is correspondence from the Maryland Historic Trust, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 15, ERD Appendix 9, which was the initial conceptual site plan, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 16, ERD Appendix 10, which is a topographical map, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 17, ERD Appendix 11, which is the glare study, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 18, ERD Appendix 12, which is the EJ screen report, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 19, ERD Appendix 13, which is the subscriber organization approval, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 20, ERD Appendix 14, which is the water use exemption application, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 21, the ERD Appendix 15, which are the FAA and MAA analyses, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 22, ERD Appendix 16, which is the Vegetation Management Plan, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 23, the ERD Appendix 17, which is the Construction Traffic Plan, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 24, ERD Appendix 18, which is the PV Cyst Report, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 25, the ERD Appendix 19, which is the JEDI summary, public version, filed on October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 26, ERD Appendix 20, which is the EPA AVERT report, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 27, ERD Appendix 21, which is the National Geologic Map, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 28, ERD Appendix 22, which is Critical Area Commission correspondence, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 29, the ERD Appendix 23, which is correspondence from the Maryland Department of Environment and the United States Army Corps of Engineers, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 30, ERD Appendix 24, which is correspondence with Caroline County, filed October 17th, 2024, also under mail log number 312968.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 31, the applicant's responses to the Power Plant Research Program's Data Request 1 in the public version, which was filed November 26, 2024, under mail log number 313869.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. And may we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 31C, the confidential version of the responses to the Power Plant Research Program's Data Request 1, filed November 26, 2024, also under mail log number 313869.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 32, the applicant's response to Caroline County's deficiency letter, including Exhibits A, B, and C, filed on January 3rd, 2025, under mail log number 314641.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 33, the applicant's updated conceptual site plan, filed February 13th, 2025, under mail log number 315757.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 34, the certificates of publication for the first public comment hearing, filed March 3rd, 2025, under mail log number 316359.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 35, the applicant's revised conceptual site plan, which was filed in two parts, on April 30th, 2025, under mail log number 318461.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 36, the updated decommissioning plan, the clean version, filed May 2nd, 2025, under mail log number 318560.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 37, the updated decommissioning plan in red line, filed May 2nd, 2025, also under mail log number 318560.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 38, certificates of publication for the second public comment hearing, filed June 11th, 2025, under mail log number 319546.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 39, the sign affidavit, filed June 13th, 2025, under mail log number 319605.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 40, the settlement status update, filed June 17th, 2025, under mail log number 319672.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 41, the direct testimony of Ryan Boswell, filed February 13th, 2025, under mail log number 315755.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 42, the direct testimony of Charles Walker, filed February 13th, 2025, also under mail log number 315755.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 43, the direct testimony of Robert Bathurst, filed February 13th, 2025, also under mail log number 315755.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 44, the supplemental direct testimony of Andrew Reese, filed July 14th, 2025, under mail log number 320407.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 45, the supplemental direct testimony of Patrick Gesselman, filed July 14th, 2025, under mail log number 320407.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. And finally, may we please have marked as applicant Exhibit 46, the rebuttal testimony of Ryan Boswell, filed June 24th, 2025, also under mail log number 319863.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes the applicant's exhibits.
Okay. And I understand there's no objection to the applicant's exhibit, so they have all been marked. They will all be entered into the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And before we do more exhibits, I'm inclined to have the applicant put on on your witnesses.
That'd be fine, Your Honor. Thank you. Your Honor, at this point, the applicant would call Ryan Boswell to the stand, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm, under penalties of perjury, that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
My name is Ryan Boswell. I'm Vice President of Development for the applicant. Address is 1700 Rockville Pike. That's RyanBoswell.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, before you start, Mr. Flavin, I was advised that, Ms. McLemore, your mic isn't working. Is your light on?
Oh, I thought it was.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Boswell.
Good afternoon.
Did you cause to be filed in this case the direct testimony of Ryan Boswell on February 13th, 2025?
I did.
And was that testimony prepared by you or under your supervision?
It was.
Do you have any changes you'd like to make to that testimony?
I do not.
If I asked you the same questions appearing in that document today, would your responses be the same or substantially the same?
Yes, they would.
Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Boswell is available for cross-examination.
PPRP?
And I apologize, Your Honor. Would you like me to also,
He might, yes,
with the
affirm
rebuttal?
his other testimony?
Yes, thank you. I apologize. And Mr. Boswell, did you also cause to be filed the rebuttal testimony of Ryan Boswell on June 24th, 2025?
I did.
And was that prepared by you or under your supervision?
Yes, it was.
Do you have any changes you'd like to make to that?
No, I don't.
If I asked you the same questions appearing in that document here today, would you provide the same or substantially similar answers?
Yes, I would.
Thank you, Mr. Boswell. Your Honor, Mr. Boswell is available for cross-examination.
Okay. Does PPRP have any questions? Cross-examination? Okay.
Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Boswell.
Good afternoon.
I have some questions about the community benefit that Chaberton has indicated that they would give the county. Could you please describe what that would be in this case?
Sure. So through our Chaberton Cares initiative, we dedicate $5,000 per megawatt AC for each project. I believe 20% of that is dedicated up front. 80% of that value is dedicated if the project proceeds. That first 20% has been already, I guess, contributed to a partner called, I think, Parents House of Maryland. The other 80% is still outstanding at this point, but we are looking at some affordable housing options where those funds might be dedicated.
And how much would that 80% be?
As the project currently stands, that would be 80% of $15,000. So that math off the top of my head, I guess that'd be $12,000.
Is this okay? Okay, so 80% of the 15,000, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's $12,000.
Are you familiar with the county's concerns that are described in County Witness Leslie Grundon's testimony as to the project's impact on potential R-1 development due to its proximity to Federalsburg?
I'm familiar with her testimony, yes.
And could you please, in an attempt to resolve these concerns, would the applicant be amenable to working with the county to address its concerns even more than the 80% of the 15,000?
We are amenable to that. In fact, some of our staff met with Commissioner Breeding and the county's attorney just yesterday to discuss some potential opportunities to work together. We haven't reached any substantive compromise at this point, but we remain open to that.
And could you provide examples, or are you not ready to do that?
I think we continue to be interested in opportunities to support affordable housing, but any options remain on the table. We're really looking for the county's guidance on what kind of priorities Chaberton could help support. But given Mrs. Grundon's testimony, we thought affordable housing would be a place to start.
All right, thank you. Now I'm going to ask some questions about Ms. Richardson's her testimony, I think, in one of the public hearings. Are you familiar with County Witness Leslie Grundon's SIR rebuttal?
I am.
And she talks a bit about this on page 4. She explains the concern that the existing deciduous woodlands that the applicant proposes to use as a visual buffer may be on Ms. Richardson's property. Is that correct?
So the existing deciduous buffer on the western side of the property and really on the southern and eastern sides, some portion of that is on the host property for Project Pahar, particularly on the western side. If you look at our concept site plan, we indicate that at least 30 feet of that is fully on the ULA property, which would be under the control of our project.
So none of do I understand correctly that any of the deciduous woodlands that are included as your visual buffer are not on her property?
We don't rely on the deciduous buffer on her property to screen the project. There certainly is a adjoining buffer that is on her property, but we're not exercising any rights over that buffer, nor are we relying on it exclusively. If it contributes to screening, that's great, but if Ms. Richardson decides to remove it, that's obviously not inside of our control, but we rely on the 30 feet that remains on our property to provide adequate screening, as is the case around the rest of the perimeter of the project.
All right, thank you. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Staff has no questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. The county does have several. Oh, thank you. The light wasn't on. I apologize. And Your Honor, I did. The exhibits that we submitted, I have put in a binder. I have put one in front of the witness. I'm happy to provide one to Your Honor as well. It might make it easier.
I have everything. I believe I have everything.
Okay.
If there's something that I can't access, I'll let you know.
Great. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Boswell. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing well.
My name is Jesse Hammock, and I represent the County Commissioners of Caroline County. I assume, Mr. Boswell, that you're familiar with the Chaberton ERD that was filed in this matter?
Yes, sir.
And that's just for the record, mail log 312968, and I believe it was identified as applicant exhibit 5. Mr. Boswell, did you participate in the drafting of the ERD?
I did.
And you reviewed it for accuracy?
Yes, I did.
And it was provided under oath?
Yes.
And attached as Appendix 24 to Chaberton's ERD is a document labeled, quote, County Communications, I believe.
That appears correct, yep.
Okay, great. And if you turn to, and it's in the binder, the black binder that's in front of you, but if you have your own copy, that's fine, of the ERD at page 6. And on page 6 of Chaberton's ERD at paragraph 1, Chaberton states that the county did not provide any comments in response to the draft site plan that was provided to the county. Isn't that correct?
That is correct. We did not have a substantive amount of comments from the county. The county acknowledged that the project was in R1 zoning, which does not allow solar.
I just want to be clear, though, but what the ERD says is that the county did not provide any comments, correct?
At the time that we filed the CPCN application, the county did file a letter alleging that the application was incomplete, but prior to filing the application, we did not receive comments.
And further on down in the ERD, page 6, paragraph 4, I think it is, it says the county did not provide a statement or finding as required by COMAR 2079-0301.
In response to specific requests to file comment, as we are required to do when we file the draft ERD with the county, we did not receive comments or characterization of the project, except that it was in the R1 zoning.
So, and you're familiar with the requirements of 2079-0301?
I don't know that statute off the top of my head.
Understood. And you correct me if you believe I'm wrong in your understanding, but it does require that the applicant provide, along with its CPCN application, a statement or finding by the county, if one was made, regarding the project is consistent with applicable local comprehensive plan and zoning ordinance.
That is correct.
Thank you. If you turn to Exhibit 1 in your binder.
And what is that?
That is mail log 313946. It's Exhibit 1 to the letter that we submitted on December 2nd. I have it in the binder, Your Honor, if it would.
Hold on one second. I know where it is in the docket. That is you said 313946, correct?
313946.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
And you said exhibit,
It's Exhibit 1 to
One?
that document.
Yep.
It's also Exhibit 1 in the
yep,
booklet in front of Mr. Boswell.
I'm there.
Mr. Boswell, if you let's start, the emails are in reverse chronological order, so we can start at the back, if you don't mind, pages 6 and 7 of Exhibit 1. Page 7 of Exhibit 1 is an email from Pete Mellitz with Century Engineering.
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Mellitz and Century are authorized agents of Chaberton.
They were at the time that these emails were sent.
Thank you. And to state the obvious somewhat, the second project mentioned in Mr. Mellitz's email is it Pahar or Pahar?
Pahar.
Pahar, okay. The Pahar project that we're here about today.
Correct.
And now if you turn over to page 6, at the top you will see that Mr. Kaczynski, who is behind me in the room today, responded to Mr. Mellitz regarding the zoning on the property, correct?
Correct.
And in April of 2023, Century and Chaberton were specifically informed by the county that the parcel did not comply. The parcel was not zoned compliant with solar in Caroline County, correct?
That is correct.
And I believe if you continue forward in the email chain, you will see that Mr. Mellitz asks about the process for rezoning the property or options regarding the zoning on the property. If you look at in the middle of page 5 to help things along, Mr. Mellitz, April 26 email, the last line right above the thank you. To get solar in R1, we would have to file for a zoning category change, he asked, correct?
I do see that email.
Okay, thank you. So it would be fair to say that Mr. Mellitz, on behalf of Chaberton, was asking whether or not they could file a zoning category change for this property.
He did ask that question, yes.
Yes. And if you go further on pages 1, 2, and 3, you'll see that Mr. Mellitz and the county arranged a meeting and a telephone call to discuss these projects, including but not limited to the zoning on the Chaberton Pahar property, right?
It does appear that that's what this email thread shows, yes.
So to be clear, the county actually did, and this was the first communication that the county received from Chaberton or anybody on behalf of Chaberton regarding this project, as far as you're aware?
I can't confirm that this is the first communication that they received from us on this project, but I do see that it seems to suggest that Mr. Mellitz did meet with Matt.
Are
yes.
you aware of any communications from Chaberton to the county prior to this email?
I know that we began development in 2022. I don't know whether our communications prior to the initial date of this chain of communications are captured in my list here.
So are you aware or are you not aware of any communications that predate this email?
If you give me a moment to review what I've got here, I
Sure.
will respond. No, I don't see any communications here that predate the correspondence from Mr. Mellitz.
So based on the information that you have at hand, it would appear as if the county did respond from the beginning to the very first communication of which you're aware regarding this specific project and the zoning deficiency, right?
Yeah, it does appear like there was correspondence between Mr. Kaczynski and Mr. Mellitz. I will note that Century Engineering is no longer the civil engineer of record for various performance issues, but I was not aware of this meeting that took place between them. I did not participate in it, to say the least.
correspondence that I just referred to was not provided to the Public Service Commission as part of your CPCN application, was it?
You'll note that I am not in copy on that correspondence, so did not have access to it.
I understand that you weren't copied on it. I didn't see your name on there. My question is, was this communication provided along with your CPCN application to the Public Service Commission?
No, I don't see that it was.
Thank you. Do you know why it was omitted from this submission?
Not being aware of the communication, I wouldn't have been able to provide that.
Other people were involved in the preparation of the ERD, correct?
Certainly other people have participated in the preparation of it, yes.
You have access to the emails of your agents. You can certainly reach out and ask them if they had communications with the county.
Yes, but you'll also notice that there are no Chaberton employees on that communication, so
Yep.
it's possible they were not aware of it either.
Understood. I do notice that. I also noticed in the ERD you took the position that the county had not responded to Chaberton's requests, and in fact, it's clear that the county did respond.
The county did respond to our civil engineer of record at the time. That is correct.
Thank you. Subsequent to this communication, what, if any, efforts did Chaberton make as a result of these communications to resolve the zoning issue identified by Mr. Kaczynski in his emails to Mr. Mellitz?
We had requested a pre-application meeting directly as Chaberton with the county to discuss the project. That invitation was never accepted.
As a result of this communication?
I'm not making any connection between our efforts as Chaberton to reach out to the county. So maybe you could restate the question.
As a direct result of this communication and the county's invitation to discuss the zoning on the property, what, if any, efforts are you aware of that Chaberton made to resolve the issues raised in this email chain?
I'm not aware of any because, as I previously stated, not aware of the communication.
Understood. As we sit here today, there has been no application filed by Chaberton to have the property rezoned, correct?
That is correct.
And Chaberton has not filed, for example, a text amendment with regard to the zoning applicable to the property.
We are generally not in the business of running zoning text amendments.
Understood, but you could request a zoning text amendment, right?
Yeah, we have not done that.
Okay. And is Chaberton currently participating in the county's comprehensive plan review process, which will analyze the zoning of this and other properties in the county?
No, we are not. We've not received an invitation to do so.
It's on their website, just for future reference.
Sure.
Ask you to turn to Exhibit 3 in the binder. And we can.
Would that be Exhibit 3 to the same letter?
And I appreciate that, Your Honor. And unfortunately, it's not. It's Exhibit 2 to the letter, which is mail log 313946.
Okay, and that would be Anaya Molina emails. Is that the
Yes, Your Honor.
the subject? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Boswell, have you had a chance to turn to Exhibit?
I do have it in front of me.
Anaya Molina was an employee of Chaberton, correct?
Correct.
She's not currently an employee of Chaberton.
That's correct.
And you're welcome to review the 3 pages of emails. We can start on page 3. Looking first at the signature block at the top, Ms. Molina obviously has a Chaberton email address.
Correct.
And she also copied Lauren, is it Barkey?
Barchi, yes.
Barchi, thank you. And Ms. Barchi is also an employee of Chaberton, correct?
Correct. She's a current employee.
Okay. And in that email, Ms. Molina requested a setback modification agreement regarding this project, correct?
Yes.
And turning over to page 2 of the email, and I would note the date for the record of Ms. Molina's email is August 30th of 2023. Turning to page 2, there's an email from Matt Kaczynski dated the next day, actually first thing in the morning. And Mr. Kaczynski, you see, replies immediately to Ms. Molina, offering to send the setback modification template, but once again noting that this parcel lacked the adequate zoning for solar, correct?
That is correct. So
it's fair to say, contrary to the ERD, at least from what we can tell, the first two communications, I can tell you at least that I've been able to identify between Chaberton and the county did immediately respond and did immediately advise Chaberton of the zoning issue, correct?
Yes.
And to be clear, contrary to, well, different than your testimony earlier with regard to Mr. Mellett, these are Chaberton employees. They have Chaberton email addresses, and one is a current Chaberton employee.
That is correct.
These communications also were not provided to the Public Service Commission with the CPCN application, right?
That appears to be an oversight, yes.
Do you know why it was omitted?
As I said, it appears to be an oversight.
And on what do you base that appearance of an oversight? Do you have any actual information that it was missed as opposed to intentionally omitted?
I have no evidence that it was intentionally omitted.
Do you have any evidence one way or the other?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you. And I would ask you to turn to Exhibit 4 in your binder, which, Your Honor, is Mail Log 313946, Exhibit 3.
Okay.
Mr. Boswell, Exhibit 4 is a letter from Ryan Showalter at McAllister Detar in Easton, Maryland, to Crystal Dadds at Caroline County, correct?
Correct.
And this is the cover letter that sent the draft ERD to Caroline County, right?
That is correct.
And the letter is dated October 12th, and you can see in the top right-hand corner, it's stamped as received by the county on October 13th.
I do see that.
So it would at least appear from this letter, it was sent on the 12th and received on the 13th. Ask if you turn to Exhibit 6 in your binder. And, Your Honor, for the record, that is Mail Log 313946, Exhibit 5.
I'm there.
And the first thing I would point out, Mr. Boswell, is at the bottom of page, and it was one of two, page 1 had nothing in it, so I only included page 2. At the bottom of page 2, you'll see another email from Mr. Kaczynski dated October 13th, 2023.
Yes, I do.
To Mr. Showalter,
Correct.
who represents Chaberton.
Yes.
And just to be clear, that email was sent by Mr. Kaczynski the same day the county received the draft ERD, correct?
I do see October 13th, 2023.
Immediately upon receipt, the county responded, right?
That is correct.
The third communication from Chaberton to the county, and the third instance in which the county almost immediately responded, correct?
That is correct.
And you will see in Mr. Kaczynski's immediate response to Mr. Showalter's letter, he points out again that the property is zoned R1, which is not consistent or does not permit solar in Caroline County, right?
Yep, that fact is well established.
Thank you. Mr. Showalter and his firm are local counsel for Chaberton on this project?
They serve as counsel for local land use issues across the Eastern Shore.
Great. And at the top of page 2, Mr. Showalter responded to Mr. Kaczynski, correct?
Yes.
And his response initially was, I understand that issue. And it would appear from the context of the emails that that issue he was referring to was the zoning issue, correct?
I would agree.
And if you go to the second paragraph, you will see Mr. Showalter addressing the zoning issue. And he mentions that this project requires a CPCN approval and, quote, that approval would resolve the R1 use issue.
That is what the letter says, yes.
So at least as of October 13th, the third time the county received communication from Chaberton regarding this project, the county was told that Chaberton would simply file the CPCN and that would resolve the R1 use issue.
Is there a question?
That's what the email says, isn't it?
Yes.
Was that Chaberton's position, at least as of that date?
You see that is written by council. However, the state law does require for projects over 2 megawatts that we lean on the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission, not of the local authority.
And the way, at least in Mr. Showalter's mind, your agent, to resolve the zoning issue was simply to file the CPCN application, right?
It is certainly required in order to permit a project over 2 megawatts AC.
The letter that, or the, I'm sorry, the ERD that Mr. Showalter provided to the county, and I now refer you to Exhibit 5, Your Honor, Mail Log 313946, Exhibit 4. There, Chaberton, along with Mr. Showalter's cover letter, provided a draft ERD, including what it referred to as a conceptual site plan. If you turn to the second page of Exhibit 5, that is what Chaberton provided to Caroline County by way of a conceptual site plan, which Mr. Showalter represented was consistent with the requirements of Comar 2079-0105 and 2079-0301B. Do you see that exhibit?
I do.
Are you familiar with the requirements for a conceptual site plan that is to be provided to the county at least 90 days before a filing of a CPCN?
In my recollection, it's required to be a draft site plan, and generally speaking, the level of detail provided at that point is not as great as at the time of filing the application.
And it is also the county's, to the extent that the county is requested or required to respond, it is after the receipt of a properly sized conceptual site plan that contains the information set forth in Comar, correct?
I don't know the specific requirements of the draft filing, but we addressed that in our response to the assertion that our application was incomplete.
You understand that a location map with the total site area is supposed to be provided to the county with the conceptual site plan.
I believe that is included in our CPCN application and the draft ERD and the accompanying concept site plan. I see that it is not included here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. The applicable land boundaries are also supposed to be included in what is provided to the county. Do you see the applicable land boundaries on this?
It appears that when this exhibit was printed, a lot of the quality and resolution has been lost, so I do not see that on this print copy that I have.
Can you tell, or do you recall whether the municipal boundaries were included as required by Comar?
This project's outside the municipal boundary, and I can see that this frame does not provide that in the image.
So if I told you that the road immediately to the south of the property in the bottom left-hand corner is the municipal boundary of Federalsburg, you would not know one way or the other whether that's true?
I do know that Laurel Grove Road is the municipal boundary, yes.
And it's fair to say that, at least from what you can see on the map, and I understand the resolution is suboptimal, there's no indication of the municipal boundary either?
It doesn't appear to be.
The project design features, and understanding again the somewhat limited nature of the resolution of the exhibit, can you see any project design features indicated on here?
No, but this is not representative of what we would have submitted in terms of the resolution.
But
the quality of this image is quite bad.
Understood, and it is what Mr. Showalter provided to the county and requested feedback within 90 days. You understand that, right?
Yes, I assume this is generated as a copy of what we provided, yes.
And I generated the copy, and I will tell you it is what was provided. But it's fair to say that what Mr. Showalter provided to the county on behalf of Chaberton and requested the county to respond to within 90 days is not consistent with the requirements of Comar, correct?
Your Honor, respectfully, I'm going to object to this line of questioning. I think the alleged deficiencies of the applicant's initial submittal were already raised and resolved by Your Honor at the time that an order was issued.
I'm going to sustain the objection, but also for that reason, but also because this witness is not a legal expert. His expertise lies outside of the Comar requirements.
Understood, Your Honor. That was my last question with regard to that exhibit. If I could ask you to go to Exhibit 16 in your binder, and Your Honor, I beg the court's indulgence for 1 minute. I don't have the mail log number for Chaberton's supplemental response to our data request, but I can find it if you Bear with me.
So would that be the March 17th, 2025?
It is.
Supplemental, which was to Chaberton, to the county's data request number 1-2,
Yes, Your Honor.
sponsored by Mr. Boswell.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Boswell, ask you to turn to, well, at the end of Exhibit 16 that is in front of you, there's a list of properties, correct?
Yes, sir.
And we requested that Chaberton, I want to make sure I get the question right, identify all parcels of land in the county other than this property that Chaberton considered for placement of the project. And this is the list that was provided by Chaberton in response to that request, correct?
That is correct.
And I won't ask you to count them, but I would note for the record that there are 54 such properties indicated. And I won't ask you to total up the acreage, but it's more than 6,000 acres of property that it would appear Chaberton has identified in Caroline County as meeting what you call the basic screening criteria.
That sounds consistent with the SIR rebuttal testimony that I filed.
Thank you. With regard to the basic screening criteria that you reference in this response, well, what are Chaberton's basic screening criteria?
Generally, we try to find land with appropriate zoning. We look at capacity on the appropriate electrical grid, which in this case is Delmarva. That's a significant limiting factor in Caroline County, as we've addressed. We look for environmental features on a desktop basis, and so the absence of those is ideal. Regulated wetlands, for example. And we try to find properties that are generally already naturally screened so as not to be imposing on adjacent properties.
Are your screening criteria in any way weighted? Does one count more than another in your analysis?
Proximity to existing capacity on the electric grid is first and foremost.
And that's a function of the cost associated with connecting the solar field to the grid.
It's more fundamental than that. If there's not the capacity to accept generation on the grid, there's simply no project to even consider.
Right, but with regard to proximity to the grid, is at least one of the factors that you consider the distance and therefore the cost to hook into the grid?
There is a relationship between distance and cost, but it is not necessarily a direct correlation. And
in the meetings with the county yesterday, I believe what we were told is it's about $1 million a mile. Does that sound accurate?
That is a reasonable rule of thumb. It does not address every case, but yes.
And back to my original question, other than the cost associated with, or the location of the project to the connection to the grid, are any of the other factors weighted in any way, or are they all given equal consideration?
Well, one factor I did not mention is the willingness of the landowner to entertain a lease, which is actually more important than interconnection capacity. If we don't have a commercial deal, interconnection capacity does not matter. So,
yeah. If they're not willing, you can't do it.
Exactly.
Right. What weight is zoning given in that analysis?
Historically, it was a very primary consideration consideration before community solar arrays were eligible to participate in the CPCN process. Since that change, it is less of a consideration.
Does Chaberton currently have the capacity to construct solar projects on all of these parcels if the owners were to respond affirmatively?
I can't really speculate on that. I don't know anything about the parcels.
To your knowledge, have you received responses from any of these landowners?
I don't believe so. Generally, we don't exclude any landowner if they're willing to participate and their property meets the initial screening. We would engage with them.
As you sit here today, do you know if any of these landowners were actually contacted by Chaberton?
This list was generated as a list of properties that received at least a mailer from Chaberton.
When was this list, with regard or in relation to the data request that we sent and the response that you provided on March 17th, when was this list generated? Do you know?
This specific list provided as a attachment to our supplemental
Yes.
response. Well, it would seem to indicate from the supplemental response that that was generated on or about March 17th, 2025.
Did a similar, substantially similar list exist prior to this?
Yes, this project was originated in 2022. Yes, so we would have been pursuing similar properties, and the outreach process is one that is ongoing. It's not a one-off contact.
So this list was generated on or about the date that you provided the supplemental response.
Yes, we don't generally have handy lists of properties that we have reached out to. If they meet our screening criteria, they are contacted, but that part of the business is not one that I have direct purview over.
People that would do that or create that list work for the company in which you are a vice president, correct?
Correct.
If you wanted those lists, you could get them, right?
Such as what I provided.
Understood.
Yeah.
And specifically back to the question that we asked, identify all parcels of land in the county other than the property that you considered for placement of this project. And I think you testified earlier that you identified this parcel in 2022, correct?
That's correct.
What other parcels did you, as we requested in our data request, what other parcels did you consider in 2022?
I don't have that information available, but I believe that the list that we provided is substantially similar to those that we considered in 2022.
To the extent that there are any differences between the list in 22 and the list that you provided, would you know offhand what those differences would be?
I do not.
Because we did ask for the properties that were considered with regard to this project, and this project was generated, or at least initiated in 2022, would you be able to provide the information from 2022 after this hearing?
I do not know if we have a record of properties that were considered in 2022.
But if you have it, can you provide it?
Your Honor, I just respectfully like to object to this again. I mean, we've had a long time for discovery, and if Mr. Hammock and the county had any concerns with the scope of Chaberton's response here, that should have been raised and addressed a long time
Sustained.
ago.
Mr. Boswell, you indicated earlier in your testimony that the list was generated on or about the date of your supplemental data response.
Correct.
Can you show me where that's indicated on the list?
The list is not dated, but the response is dated, and the list is provided as part of the response.
Understood. And the response asked for the information that you considered with regard to this project, which you identified in 2022.
Yeah,
So-
to be very clear, we don't consider alternatives for any project. These are other parcels that would, in theory, be eligible for a project, not Project Pahar.
But to counsel's objection, there's nowhere in your data response nor on the list where you indicate that these were properties that would be appropriate as of the date of the data response as opposed to the time frame that we requested, correct?
That does appear to be true, yes.
Thank you. When you originally identified this property as in or about early 2022, would that be fair to say, mid-22? Do you recall?
I don't know the time frame of when the project was identified.
Let's stick with 2022.
Sure.
Would you have had a similar list to this of other properties in the area that you were soliciting solar projects on?
We certainly pursued a wide variety of properties. We do that everywhere we go.
Mm-hmm.
As to the existence of a list of those properties, I do not know.
And maybe I'm using the term incorrectly, a database containing properties that you are soliciting for solar projects. Would that have existed at that time?
We have tools that we use to identify properties.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's probably a list that could be generated as a result.
And to the risk of stating the obvious, this project that you identified in 2022 is obviously zoned R1.
That is correct.
Do you recall at the time that you identified this property as being suitable, any discussions regarding the zoning of the property?
I do not. I think early on in the development process, not so after this project had already been entered into a lease agreement, there was some conversation about the zoning. And yes, it was identified early on that this was in the residential zone, but I was not aware of that prior to signing a lease on this project.
Do you recall? So you weren't aware, well, did you sign the lease?
Prior to Chaberton's representative signing a lease, no, I do not sign leases.
Would it be, is there a process that Chaberton goes through to determine the zoning of the property before it signs leases?
Yes.
And Chaberton would analyze the zoning on the property before it signs a lease, presumably?
Yes.
And so it would be fair for us to believe that Chaberton was aware that this property was zoned R1 at the time the lease was signed.
Sure. Yes.
At the time this property was identified as appropriate, at least meeting the basic criteria, well, let me back up. So to the extent that zoning at that time was part of the basic criteria, if it violates the zoning, you disregard that criteria?
Generally speaking, for projects over 2 megawatts, the local zoning is not our primary consideration because they are required to participate in the CPCN process.
How does participation in the CPCN process obviate the county's zoning?
Well, the authority on siting decisions for projects over 2 megawatts lies with the Public Service Commission.
Turning back to the list that you provided attached as Exhibit 16, it is fair to say that not one of those parcels is zoned R1, correct? If you look, the zoning code is indicated in the zoning description as the last 2 columns.
Those are all rural zoning.
And as I'm sure you are aware, and everybody else here is abundantly aware, rural zoning in Caroline County does permit solar, correct?
That is correct.
So has Chaberton now, just notwithstanding the CPCN process and what you said with regard to siting, is Chaberton now excluding R1 parcels from consideration for solar in Caroline County?
We are not, as far as I'm aware, actively looking for any new properties in Caroline County, though that can change at any time. There is a whole new set of criteria by which we try to identify eligible parcels. Since the time that this list was generated, there's been changes in the state law which allow projects to be sited in any zone.
So so subsequent to providing us with this list, Chaberton has modified its basic criteria for determining appropriate sites for solar?
I would say that we have expanded our criteria, yes.
Would that expansion include properties that are, at least based on county zoning, precluded from solar?
When all the provisions of the recent Renewable Energy Certainty Act go into effect, most zoning classes are not excluded. They're all, in fact, I believe the law prohibits prohibition of solar in any zone. But again, as Her Honor pointed out, I'm not an attorney.
No, understood. But you do know the criteria that Chaberton currently uses to determine appropriate sites for solar, correct?
In general, yes.
And does Chaberton still factor zoning into that analysis?
It's given some consideration. It is not given the same weight that it has been historically.
Are you familiar with PPRP's proposed licensing conditions submitted in this matter?
I have reviewed them.
And, Your Honor, I believe this is mail log 319863. I'm sorry, no, that is Mr. Boswell's rebuttal testimony. And I will refer you, Mr. Boswell, to your rebuttal testimony. Chaberton has accepted, or is accepting, the licensing conditions set forth in PPRP's June 4th, 2025 filing, correct? And,
That is correct.
and that's mail log 319400, Your Honor, I believe, PPRP's, PLC's.
319400, correct, June 4th.
Thank you. And Mr. Boswell, Chaberton has agreed to construct the project, and I'm paraphrasing. Well, no, actually, I'm quoting, in accordance with applicable local laws. That's the PCL number 1 on PPRP's PLC's 319400 is to construct the project in accordance with applicable local laws.
Acknowledged.
And in your rebuttal testimony, Chaberton has accepted the licensing conditions proposed by PPRP, correct?
We have.
Okay, thank you. PCL 11, the PPRP has requested that Chaberton apply for and seek issuance of all applicable permits and approvals necessary or required for the construction of the project, which would include approvals from the county, correct?
That is correct.
And Chaberton has accepted that PLC, correct?
We have.
And Chaberton, as a result of that, it is my assumption, and I'm hoping you will confirm this for me, that in the unfortunate event that the CPCN is approved in this matter, that Chaberton would be applying to the county for site plan approval
Yes, we would.
and for erosion and sediment control approval,
Correct.
stormwater management,
Yes.
and a landscape plan.
Correct.
And I want to talk briefly about the landscape buffer because I know some of the concerned neighbors are here with us. You mentioned earlier recent amendments that our legislature made to the public utility article. I assume you're generally familiar with those changes, or at least some of those changes?
At a high level, yes.
Understood. And I understand that they may or may not apply to this CPCN application, but I want to briefly ask you about the vegetative buffer requirements that are included in those changes. Chaberton, specifically the western boundary, Chaberton's existing buffer along the proposed buffer in your site plan shows that at least would appear to reflect that there is approximately 30 feet of deciduous buffering on Chaberton's property.
That is correct.
Which I think we could both agree is less than 35 feet that the state law currently permits counties to require.
Yes, this plan was prepared prior to the implementation of those requirements.
Understood. And have you visited this site by
Yes,
chance?
I have.
Okay. And as have I. And my rudimentary understanding of the tree line along the western boundaries, that those are what we refer to as deciduous trees.
I think that's right.
Yeah. They don't provide for four-season buffering.
Correct.
And current state law, which Chaberton does take into consideration with regard to siting, for example, requires four-season buffering. Isn't that correct?
That is correct.
And it requires four-season buffering around the entirety of the site, where there is not currently more than 35 feet of buffer, correct?
I think that's correct, yes.
Thank you. Will Chaberton agree to provide at least 35 feet of four-season vegetative buffering around all sides of this project?
Yeah, when the county adopts the requirements in the legislation, we'd be happy to comply with them.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Okay, is there any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Excuse me. Just very briefly, I don't want to rehash Chaberton's response to the county's alleged deficiency letter, but just want to know, Mr. Boswell, you're familiar generally with the petition and the ERD that was submitted as part of the application?
I am.
And would you agree with me at multiple places throughout the petition and the ERD, the applicant acknowledged that this proposed property was not within a zoning designation that would allow solar?
I believe we went to great lengths to acknowledge that.
Thank you. And just one more question here. Just give me 1 second, please. Pull up. I wanted to ask just a quick question in response to Mr. Hammock's questions about our supplemental, response to their first data request that you were discussing earlier. If you can just give me just a moment to pull it up here in my outrageously large binder. Are you there?
I am.
Okay. You'll see that I'm starting here at the beginning. Question number 1-2. It asks the applicant to identify all parcels of land in the county other than the property that you considered for placement of the project. Do you see that?
I do.
Okay. And if I could get you to turn that page over to our response to 1-2E. Can you read that first sentence there?
Yeah, it says the applicant did not explicitly reject other properties as alternatives to the property.
So it's fair to say that in our response we acknowledge that the applicant did not seek specific alternatives to the Pahar property, right?
That is correct.
But in response to the request, the applicant did provide a list of other properties in the county that, at least at a high level, may be suitable for solar that the applicant was considering, right?
That is correct.
Thank you. No more questions, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I do have a few questions for you, Mr. Boswell. In the ERD on page 4, you reference that Caroline County has experienced a less than 1% population growth in recent years. Where is that information derived from? And I'm sorry if you want to get to the ER. It's in the ERD.
Your Honor, I'd be happy to respond to that in the bench data request. I don't have that information handy.
The access road that you reference on page 7 of the ERD. There's an access path that connects to Laurel Grove Road, which I believe you state in the ERD that Chaberton's going to use that temporarily for laydown of trucks and storage during construction, but it remains accessible by other parties. Who owns that road?
I don't have the title work in front of me. I'd be happy to respond in a bench DR. However, I don't believe that our current intent includes using that road. On our latest site plan, I believe that we have modified the laydown area so that everything is accessible off of Idlewild Road.
That was my next question. So the intention is not to use that, and I'm speaking of the access road that's to the south of the project.
That's correct. I believe at this juncture we are only using Idlewild Road to access the property.
Okay, and that would be included in any traffic plan.
Correct.
There was a response, I believe, attached to your rebuttal from the county that was DR 1-35, discussing the community solar subscriptions.
Go ahead with your question.
In your data response, you say that the project will provide first-in-line privileges to neighbors that are Delmarva Power customers. How does Chaberton prioritize neighbors as subscribers to the project?
As we transact on this and the project approaches PTO, the subscriber organization that will be seeking to fill eligible subscriptions, will reach out to those properties that adjoin the project parcel. They'll be the first to receive contact. We'll work out from there to try to serve neighbors in close proximity.
is there like a time limit for people to respond to the subscription offer, or how does it then expand outward to other?
Yeah, I don't have direct details on that, but I can try to provide some in a bench DR. Generally speaking, they want to have the project as close to fully subscribed by the time it hits operations as possible.
I think you answered most of my questions with regard to the vegetative buffers. There, in your ERD, you state that approximately 14 acres of the property will remain open to farming on the site. Where in the revised conceptual site plan, which I think is applicant's exhibit 35, is it to the east of the array, to the west of the array? Can you describe where that area is that would continue to be farmed?
Primarily to the east of the array, to the east of that the existing vegetative buffer. There may also be some smaller fields to the south of the proposed array. They're not quite as large as the field to the east.
Is that area currently being farmed?
It is.
And what crops are being grown there?
I have not been out there this season, but generally it's a rotation of corn and soy and some winter wheat.
Is there any update to the interconnection status?
We have some ongoing conversations with Delmarva on the interconnection study, but they have not completed the study to our satisfaction at this time.
Do you have an expected date?
We would expect to receive the interconnection agreement in the fourth quarter of this year, but it may slide into the first quarter of next year.
Do you know whether or not the property owner had previously explored residential development for that parcel?
I have not spoken directly to the property owner, but I understand that through my staff that they have never explored residential development of that property.
With respect to vegetative buffers and Caroline County zoning requires that the applicant fund a landscape architect to construct or design the landscape buffer. Is that something that Chaberton's open to doing?
Yeah, we use a professional landscape architect to prepare every landscape plan on every project we do.
If the county disagrees with the choice of that architect, would Chaberton fund the county's choice of architect?
Sure, yes.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Thank you.
I did make a request for the temperature to be lowered. So I haven't heard back, but I did make that request. I'd like to go about 45 more minutes, and then we can take a brief break. And I apologize for the heat. It is warm.
Thank you, Your Honor. May we call our next witness?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this point, the applicant would call Andrew Reese.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under penalties of perjury that the statements made this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
My full name is Andrew Reese. Last name spelled Reese. I work for ARM Group as the Renewable Energy Practice Area Leader. My business address is 4600 Lena, which is Lena Drive, Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Mr. Reese. Did you cause to be filed the supplemental direct testimony of Andrew Reese on July 14th, 2025?
Yes, sir.
Was that prepared by you or under your supervision?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any changes or updates you'd like to make to that document?
No, sir.
If I asked you the same questions appearing in that document here today, would you have the same or substantially similar answers?
Yes.
Thank you. And just to make clear, Mr. Reese, are you adopting the previously submitted direct testimony of Mr. Charles Walker?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this point, Mr. Reese is available for cross-examination.
PRP?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Are you familiar with the May 1st, 2025 decommissioning plan, the attachment A, which is, it's entitled, it's a decommissioning cost analysis?
I don't have a May 1st. I have a 2/11, 3/28, and a 7/10 dated.
Okay, it's dated 3/28. It was on the, I was thinking it was the same date as the decom plan. So,
Yeah, I have the one that's stamped from 3/28.
Okay,
Yes,
thank
I'm
you.
familiar.
Could you state the amount of the decommissioning bond that the applicant determined?
The total bond amount on the 3/28 estimate is $586,294.
And are you familiar with the amount that PPRP recommends for the decommissioning bond? It's on page 30 of PPRP's direct witness P. Kyle's testimony.
I'm not familiar off the top of my head.
Subject to check, would you agree that it's $586,300?
Yes.
Did these these amounts include a contingency allowance amount?
On that estimate, it did not. We provided an estimate on 7/10 that added a 5% contingency, which took the cost up to $615,609.
Could you repeat that amount again? $615,000?
$615,609.
609. Could you explain why you didn't include the contingency allowance amount to begin with?
On past decommissioning estimates, we didn't include a contingency, but recently we've been requested to include that.
Did you also include a salvage value in your calculation for the cost?
Yes, there is a recycling cost, but no, I do not believe salvage value is included.
Okay. So you're testifying that salvage value was not included, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. In your response to staff's DR 3-1, I believe it's included in Ms. Samrai's testimony. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not.
Subject to check, would you agree that it indicated that you would include a 5% contingency factor of $21,767?
Yes.
In deriving that amount, could you now look at the decommissioning cost analysis that you have on the May 28th, 25 document?
Yes, I'm looking at it.
In deriving that, did Chaberton also include the general contractor profit and the hauling and loading costs?
I don't believe they included general contractor profit.
And have you been involved in any other CPCN cases in Maryland?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with how PPRP recommends that the decommissioning bond be determined?
In what regard?
With regard to when a contingency allowance amount is included?
I'm not familiar specifically.
Okay, could you explain why you did not include the general contractor profit and the hauling and loading costs in the allowance, in the contingency amount allowance?
We didn't estimate the percent profit. We estimated the total cost. So we are unsure as what the profit would be in there, and we used unit pricing and experience from design, build, construction projects that we've completed in Maryland. We don't really get access to contractors' profit.
So you don't even do a general estimate or anything?
Yeah, I can defend how a lot of this unit pricing was calculated.
Because it's right here, as is the hauling and loading cost, correct?
Yes.
Okay, why did you not include that in the in your determination of what the contingency allowance amount is?
I'm a little uncertain how you're expecting us to calculate contractor profit.
Well, you have it here as 10% is 43,535. Is that, I may be confused, but that's what it looks like.
Oh, I see what you're talking about now. I apologize.
No worries. So just to summarize, you have not included this in your determination of the 5% contingency allowance factor. Is that correct?
To me, it looks like it is included in the subtotal. I'd have to run the numbers to confirm, but
I would like to, okay, yeah, thank you.
it is indeed included.
So if the total amount is 531,024, 5% of that is the 21,767.
5% of that number is $26,551.20.
All right. And are you familiar when PPRP recommends a contingency allowance amount? Do you know how PPRP does that, or do you not?
I do not. I just
Okay.
know that it was requested, and I'm here to provide comments for our unit pricing and understanding of the decommissioning itself.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Staff?
No questions, Your Honor.
Any questions?
No question.
I just had one clarifying question. On page 5 of the decommissioning plan, the section that deals with access and internal roads, there's reference to train tracks, and I wasn't sure where there were train tracks in the site plan. I hadn't seen that mentioned anywhere.
I don't believe there are train tracks. We could modify that and remove that at the next data request.
Just about the location, but I was.
Yeah, I'll pull out the plan and look to confirm. Yeah, like I said, I don't believe there are any train tracks that would interfere with decommissioning of the project, so that could be omitted.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions.
Your Honor, and just for the record, no redirect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor, may we call our last witness?
Please.
Thank you. This time the applicant calls Mr. Patrick Gesselman.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Yes, so my name is Patrick Gesselman. My business address is 1700 Rockville Pike in Rockville, Maryland. It's Patrick. Last name is Gessleman. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Gesselman. Did you cause to be filed the supplemental direct testimony of Patrick Gesselman on July 14th, 2025?
Yes, sir.
And was that prepared by you or under your supervision?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any changes or updates you'd like to make?
No, I do not.
If I asked you the same questions appearing in that document here today, would you provide the same or substantially similar answers?
Yes, sir.
And just to be clear, Mr. Gesselman, you are, through your supplemental direct testimony, you are adopting the direct testimony of Mr. Robert Bathurst. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you. Your Honor, Mr. Gesselman is available for cross.
Go ahead. PPR. I have no questions. Staff have any questions?
No questions, Your Honor.
None, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. I don't have any other questions either. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor. And that concludes the applicant's witnesses.
Okay, please go ahead. We can start with PPRP. Do you want to go through exhibits? Introduction of exhibits. We can start with that.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Yes.
If I could have marked PPRP Exhibit 1, which is the direct testimony of Supita Pikau, which consists of 37 pages and 2 appendices. It was filed June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 2, the secretarial letter, dated June 4th, 2025, consisting of 1 page, which was filed on June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 3 the initial recommended license conditions, consisting of 10 pages, also filed June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 4 PPRP's project assessment report for the Pahar solar project, which consists of 30 pages and was filed June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 5 the project assessment report Appendix A, which is the applicant's responses to selected PPRP, PSC staff, and Caroline County data request. It consists of 76 pages and was filed June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 6 the project assessment report Appendix B reference sections of PPRP's websites, which consists of 27 pages, also filed on June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 7 the project assessment report Appendix C, which are the email from Critical Area Commission to PPRP and the letter from the Stories of the Chesapeake Heritage Area, which consists of 4 pages and which was filed June 4th, 2025, under mail log number 319400.
So marked.
Thank you, Your Honor. May I have marked as PPRP Exhibit 8 the surrebuttal testimony of Supita Pikau, consisting of 6 pages and 1 appendix, which was filed July 8th, 2025, under mail log number 320271.
So marked.
And those are all of PPRP's exhibits, Your Honor.
Okay. Based on the party stipulation to exhibits, PPRP's exhibits 1 through 8 will be entered into the record. I'm going to proceed with your witness.
I would call Supita Pikau to the stand at this time.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Supida Pukao, Supida Piwkhow. I'm with the Maryland Department of Natural Resources, 580 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland.
Good afternoon, Ms. Picao. Do you have before you a document entitled "The Direct Testimony of Supida Picao"?
Good afternoon, and yes, I do.
And did you have this? Did you have cause to be? Did you cause this to be filed at the Public Service Commission? Did you have this filed with the Public Service Commission?
Yes.
And in preparing it, was it prepared by you or under your direct supervision or control?
Yes, it was.
And today, do you have any changes or updates to your testimony?
No, I don't.
And if I asked you the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, it will. It will.
Thank you. And also, do you have before you a document entitled "Sir Rebuttal Testimony of Supida Picao"?
Yes, I do.
And did you cause this document to be filed also at the Public Service Commission?
Yes.
And was it prepared by you or under your direct supervision?
Yes, it was.
And at this time, do you have any changes to your testimony or updates?
No, I don't.
And if I asked you the same questions today, would your answers be the same?
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, I would tender the witness.
Okay. Cross-examination staff.
Yes, Your Honor, staff does have some questions for witness Picao. Good afternoon, Ms.
Good
Witness.
afternoon.
Were you in the room when applicant's witness Reese discussed the decommissioning plan, cost estimate, and bond contingency allowance?
Yes, I was.
Do you agree with his calculations?
Right, I think actually I pushed off. Should be okay now. I caught that I heard that Mr. Reeds, when he first came up on the stand, he indicated the total bond amount is $615,609. But later when he testified, he indicates that the total decommissioning cost for the project would be $331,024. But that does not reflect the final bonds. That total decommissioning cost would be, if we apply the 5% contingency, that will come down to $26,551. And if we add that on top of the decommissioning cost, the total bond amount in year one would be $557,575. And typically, the applicant would apply inflation of 2% for the following first 5 years. That so the total bond amount with 5% contingencies plus 2% inflation for the next 5 years would come down to $615,608.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
In your direct testimony, at page 30, line 10, you state that the amount of the decommissioning bond that PPR recommended in this case was $586,300. Did that decommissioning bond amount include a contingency allowance amount at that time?
At that time, it did not, because in general, PPRP does not require the contingency amount if the project does not include the salvage value in that total bond amount.
Okay. So even if the salvage value is not included in the decommissioning cost estimate and bond, in this case, what is PPR's opinion on what the contingency allowance amount should be?
PPRP does not oppose the inclusion of the contingency bond amount, the 5% contingency amount.
Thank you. That's all for staff, Your Honor.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Mr. Flavin, I should have allowed you the opportunity first. I went out of order.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one quick question. Good afternoon, Ms. Picow.
Good afternoon, Mr. Andy.
I'm Andy Flavin on behalf of the applicant. Just one quick question for you. If I could ask you to please turn to page 19 of your direct testimony. And if we look starting at line 20 on that page towards the bottom, it starts with, while the construction and operation of this site will change the visual character of the area, there's no evidence indicating that the visual impacts will be significant. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
And then if you go over to the next page, the top of page 20, starting, I guess, really at line 2, you note that the solar panels may still be partially visible from neighboring areas, especially during winter months. Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
Were you in the room earlier today when Mr. Boswell was on the stand?
Yes, I will.
And did you hear him respond to, I believe it was a question from Mr. Hammock, that the applicant would be willing to add an additional 35-foot buffer around the entire project if that's something the county requested?
Yes, I heard that.
Would that, in your opinion, further reduce any potential visual impacts associated with the project?
That will, in PPR opinions, it's that additional vegetative buffer would enhance the visual impact mitigation, if there any.
Okay, and would that also that additional buffer potentially help further mitigate any potential glare concerns?
I would note that in this project, the result of the glare analysis does not register any glare in the surrounding area. So that would, I think, if any, that the additional vegetative buffer will enhance more of the visual impact rather than glare, which we did not identify. I mean, the applicant's glare analysis did not register.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Mr. Hammock?
I do. A few brief questions. Good afternoon, Ms. Picow. How are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm well, thanks. My name is Jesse Hammock, and as you heard, I represent the County Commissioners of Caroline County. I'm interested in what you do and your review of these applications. Is it fair to say that you amongst a number of factors you review CPCN applications and ERDs are for potential environmental impacts?
Yes, we review both environmental and socioeconomic impacts from the project.
And you're aware, and I believe the ERD does a good job at the very beginning of spelling out the governor and the legislature's policy in favor of renewable energy and solar in particular. You're aware of that policy in favor of renewable energy and solar in particular.
Yes, I am aware of that.
And what, if any, consideration do you give to that policy when you are analyzing a CPCN application and an ERD? Does that impact your analysis?
Could you repeat the question?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier a minute ago, the state, the governor, the legislature's policy in favor of renewable energy and solar in particular, does that impact your analysis when you are, how, if at all, does that impact your analysis when you are reviewing ERDs and CPCN applications?
I would point to one aspect that we consider in our analysis is that we would do some calculation from the project impact on the renewable portfolio standard, which was analyzed it was indicated in the project assessment report, Pahar, and where we calculated the impact if the project were to be approved and construct and operate. The calculation will provide the amount that the project would contribute to the renewable portfolio standard.
Thank you.
Yep.
And you understand, Ms. Picow, that, and I understand that you review these applications in part for impact on environment, but that the county and the planning and code staff of the county in particular does the same thing when it conducts its site plan review analysis.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Yeah. And in addition, the county is also, and planning and code staff are required to consider other state policies, including affordable housing. Are you aware of that?
I am aware of that.
And the counties and the Planning and Codes Department in particular in Caroline County is also required to factor in the state's policy of preservation of agricultural land, correct?
That's correct.
Does PPRP in its analysis also factor in or look at the impact or potential impact on affordable housing or the preservation of agricultural land when it does its review of CPCNs and ERDs?
We do not assess that as if for the PPA in particular, but we acknowledge that the project, whether the project is cited within the programmatic boundary of those PPA or not. But we did not look at the affordable housing. However, we, in consultation with the planning department, we did not receive any feedback regarding that.
In consultation with, when did you had consultations with the planning department?
No, they're part of the reviewing state agencies.
Okay. The state planning department, is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, Maryland Department of Planning.
Okay, thank you. Not the Caroline County
No,
Planning and Codes Department. Thank you.
but they are part of the reviewing state agency.
Understood. Did you have, when you were conducting this review, any communications at all, for example, with the DHCD, the Department of Housing and Community Development, with regard to any challenges that Caroline County is facing specific to affordable housing?
No, I don't have any contact with them.
Just out of curiosity, I understand that we had some colloquy before we went on the record regarding the relative caseloads of folks involved in reviewing these CPCNs. How many CPCNs or ERDs are you currently responsible for reviewing and testifying regarding?
Are you talking about the project that has already been issued, granted the CPCN, or currently? Currently, I have 5 projects.
You have 5 projects. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I recall reading your testimony, and I do believe that with certain conditions, PPRP is recommending approval of this project.
That's correct. Actually, not PPRP. It's a recommendation of the secretaries of DNR and MD.
Thank you. Are those secretaries recommending, as far as you're aware, denial of any of the applications, the other applications that you're currently reviewing?
Not the project that has been reviewed by myself.
So all of the ones that you're currently reviewing have been recommended for approval?
The current one that I'm reviewing has not been granted. It's in the process of review.
Okay. In the last year, any of the ones that have already been, any of the projects that you've reviewed in the last, let's say, 1 year, have any been recommended for denial that you're aware of?
No.
And in any of these projects that you have reviewed that have been recommended for approval, has any consideration been given with regard to zoning, affordable housing, or preservation of ag land?
For sure, there's no project that was including the review of the affordable housing, because those in the past project that I review, a few of them are on the brownfield, and on the agricultural. If it were to be on the agricultural reserve lands, that we would review the impact on the agricultural reserve area, depending on the zoning where the project are being cited.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor, a couple questions. Ms. Pacau, you were just asked by staff's counsel if PPRP would oppose a 5% contingency allowance amount, and you indicated that that PPRP would not. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Could you explain why?
I would say in light of these, just to be in line with many of the projects that has been approved in the past, these contingency amount would also ensure that the cost of the decommissioning would be covered by the applicant if anything happened.
And when PPRP recommends a contingency allowance amount, when they have, you've testified it's when they have salvage value, when they've included salvage value, what is the percentage that PPRP recommends at that time?
In the past, we have recommend in the range of nothing at all, or 10% for the case of 9755, that was 10%. And many of them are approved for the 25%, but mostly that is based on the county's requirement.
So would you say that this additional 5% would bring the total amount in line with the other projects?
Yes.
Okay. And county's council just asked you if PPRP, you specifically looked at the affordable housing, you considered that when you looked at a project. How many projects have you had that are zoned in an area where it would impact affordable housing?
Only the Pahar project.
All right.
My past case would be on the brownfield, or the project are being sited on the agricultural land.
All right, thank you. That's all I have.
I do have a couple questions. So I just need to clarify that last answer. So the projects that you've worked on have not involved residentially zoned property. Is that
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Are you aware of any other projects that have involved the annexation of property near a municipality, or the anticipated annexation of property?
No, ma'am.
So PPRP at this point does not have an opinion as to whether Caroline County has a shortage of low and moderate income housing. Is that right?
We are aware of the testimony of the county.
Did you do any analysis independently of what the county is, their assertion that they have a shortage of low and moderate income housing?
Aside from looking at the impact on the percentage of undeveloped area, we did not look further into that.
So you did not look at whether any population growth for Caroline County or for Federalsburg?
We look at the data that the applicant provided in terms of population growth. However, it should be noted that the source of information is inconclusive, not the source, but the projection is inconclusive. In some source, they may refer to the 5% projection, 10% projection. A projection sometimes refer to the entire county population, but we have not seen that any particular projection coming from federal birds.
So there was data that you looked at for Caroline County.
Yes.
Is that anywhere in the record?
It was not in the record.
Did you look at the county's comprehensive plan that's in place, effective now?
I believe the county is still working on developing the comprehensive plan update.
So the comprehensive plan that was the last comprehensive plan, which I believe was 2010?
At a high level, at least our consultant looked at it.
Were there population projections in the comprehensive plan?
I'm not aware of the figures. But we also, I think Department of Planning may have also some projection for the county. May not be at the level of the federal.
Federalsburg.
Correct.
The Caroline County Code requires the landscape buffer be approved by an architect of their selection. I don't see it in the recommended licensing conditions. Is there a reason that was not included?
No, but in general, we would consider it as part of the site plan review by the county. And it should be covered under licensing condition 11, county permitted approval. And some county review those as part of the grading plan.
So approval of the landscape buffer would be part of condition 11,
And also 10, site plan, final site plan.
final site plan. At the public comment hearings, there was a comment made about evidence that solar panels cause elevated risk of fire due to higher temperatures generated around the panels. Does PPRP have any information or opinion about whether there's data on that?
But just not, in general, PPRPs consider the fire risk is low. And I think the main concern is more or less on vegetation management rather than the elevated temperature from the panel.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
The fire risk, PPRP consider the risk is more coming more from the vegetation management. If the site is not properly managed, it may the ground cover may not be managed properly, and it can add more fuel to the fire. But not general from elevated temperature that coming from solar panel.
I just need to return back to the decommissioning bonds calculation. Staff submitted surrebuttal testimony. You familiar with that testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that recommended the amount to be updated with the 5% contingency fee to $608,061. Your calculation today was different. So I believe your calculation was $615,608. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. And I believe the figure that the applicant provided in response to staff DR did not account for the general contractor profit and hauling and loading. That's why it resulted in a slightly lower number.
Okay.
That's why we suggest that it should be corrected.
I don't have any other questions. And what my intention is at the end, I do have bench data requests that I'm keeping track of, so I will direct those to the parties that I will follow up with at the end. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, are there any questions?
No, Your
response
Honor,
to
I
my
don't.
questions? Thank you. Okay, it's almost 3 o'clock, and I think everybody could probably use a break. It feels a little bit cooler, but we'll take a 10-minute break and resume in about 10 minutes, 3:05. Thank you. We can go off the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
we finished, let me, okay, we're back on the record in case number 9759. After a brief recess, which is the matter of Chaberton Solar Pahar LLC's application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity. And we left off with PPRP. I believe it is staff's turn.
Your Honor, staff would like to go ahead and call witness Samarwit Dereri to the stand. I know that the party stipulated to the entry of our testimony, but I believe we have an update to make.
Okay.
So. Good afternoon, Ms. Dereri.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your full name?
Samrawit Dereri.
Oh, and raise your hand, please.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Could you swear her in, please?
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under penalty of perjury today, that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Samrawit Dereri, Samrawit. Last name Dereri, Dererie. Business address is 6 St. Paul Street, Baltimore 21202.
Thank you.
Ms. Dereri, could you state your position at the Public Service Commission?
Yes, so I'm a manager of grid reliability and modernization.
Thank you. Do you have before you a document entitled Direct Testimony and Exhibits of Samarwit Dereri on behalf of the staff of the Maryland Public Service Commission, pre-filed on June 4th, 2025, as mail log 319393, consisting of 14 pages of narrative text and 2 exhibits?
I do.
Was the document before you prepared by you or under your direction and supervision?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or changes to your direct testimony at this time?
No, I don't.
To the best of your knowledge, does that testimony remain true and correct today?
Yes.
Do you adopt the document before you as your testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, I ask that Ms. Dereri's direct testimony be marked as Staff Exhibit 1 and moved into the record at this time.
And according to the stipulation of the parties, it will be marked and entered into the record. As
Thank
staff's
you, Your
Exhibit
Honor.
1.
Yes. Ms. Dereri, do you also have before you a document entitled Sir Rebuttal Testimony and Exhibits of Samarwit Dereri on behalf of the staff of the Maryland Public Service Commission, pre-filed on July 8th, 2025, as mail log number 320265, consisting of 3 pages of narrative text and 1 exhibit?
I do.
Was that document before you prepared by you or under your direction and supervision?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or changes to your Sir Rebuttal testimony at this time?
Yes, I do. On page 2, right before the final recommendation in this matter, I do have a updated decommissioning cost. That's $608,061. I would like to update it to $615,608.
Thank you. And with that, to the best of your knowledge, does that testimony or Sir Rebuttal testimony remain true and correct today?
Yes.
Do you adopt the document before you, the Sir Rebuttal testimony, as your Sir Rebuttal testimony in this proceeding?
Yes, I do.
So, Your Honor, again, according to the stipulation agreed to by the parties, I ask that Mr. Dereri's Sir Rebuttal testimony be marked as Staff Exhibit 2 and moved into the record at this time.
Yes, her staff's rebuttal testimony marked and entered as Exhibit 2.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dereri is available for questions at this time.
Flavin?
No questions, Your Honor.
Okay. PPRP?
No questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Hemick?
No questions, Your Honor.
I do not have any questions either. Thank you. And staff has no other witnesses, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Hemick?
Thank you, Your Honor. Can we start with the exhibits, or do you
Yes,
want me to?
let's do that.
Great.
And as we're going to go through, because I have a couple, I have your list that you sent and proposed, and some things are duplicative of things that have already been, just for housekeeping purposes, to make sure we're not double entering.
And I did try to eliminate the ones as I heard. Thank you. I would ask to be marked and entered as County Exhibit Number 1, emails between the applicant and Caroline County Planning and Codes, pre-filed as mail log 313946.
Okay, and I see that you also have each of the exhibits just marked separately to be included into the as separate exhibits. What I'm inclined to do is which is docket number 15, is enter that as County's Exhibit 1, and it will include exhibits 1 through 6, which are attached as your exhibit, so that it will be one exhibit, County's Exhibit 1.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that'll be entered into the record.
I would ask to be marked and entered into the record as County Exhibit Number 2, Caroline County Zoning Map, pre-filed mail log 317597, Exhibit A.
Okay, that will be marked and entered into the record. And I would also note that that was attached to PPRP Exhibit 1, but there was no map. I believe the DR was attached, but the map was not. So this will include the map, and that is docket number 44, the zoning map, marked and entered as County's Exhibit 2.
And I believe Your Honor is already entered and marked as Exhibit 1 collectively what I have listed as Exhibit 3, which was 313946 Exhibit 2.
Yes.
Just cross that off. As well as the next one that was listed as Exhibit 4, the cover letter, which was 313946 Exhibit 3.
Yes.
The next was copies of portions of the ERD, which was 313946 Exhibit 4. And then after that was Exhibit 5 to 313946, listed as Exhibit 6, which is already part of Exhibit 1.
Correct.
What I have listed as Exhibit 7 apparently was the same as what was listed as Exhibit 4, which has already been admitted as part of Exhibit 1. I would ask then, I think I am up to 3, that mark and enter as County Exhibit Number 3, the November 1, 2023 email from Chaberton, Anaya Molina to Caroline County Planning and Codes, pre-filed as mail log 312968 as County Exhibit 3.
And I believe that that document has been entered already as Chaberton's Exhibit 30.
Okay.
When I checked, that was Appendix 24 with the CPCN application.
Appendix 24, Your Honor, to the CPCN application did not include, as I think came out during Mr. Boswell's testimony, all of the email exchanges between the county and Chaberton. I just want to make sure that the emails that were excluded from the ERD and the CPCN at Appendix 24 are part of the record.
And those are attached to your County Exhibit 1, correct?
Oh, yes, Your Honor, they are. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And I believe that
Also-
both the 20, and actually I'm looking at Appendix 24 right now, both of these emails dated November 1st, 2023 from Chaberton to Anaya Molina, or email from Chaberton, and the January 4th email from Chaberton, both are attached as Appendix 24, which is applicant's Exhibit 30 in the record right now.
And they were also included along with
in yours.
313946,
Yes.
which is Exhibit 1. Thank you.
Okay, yep.
Chaberton has already entered its concept site plan to accompany the CPCN, which was listed as number 11. I would ask then, so I would be up to 3, I believe, be entered, marked and entered as County Exhibit 3, Caroline County responses to data requests, pre-filed at mail log 317597, 319042, and 320206, entered collectively as Exhibit 3.
And those were the
Caroline County.
responses.
Yes, Your Honor. Caroline County's responses to the data request, which we did file in the record already.
And they are attached, I believe, to PPRP's direct testimony. Docket number 55, I believe they are attached as exhibits to witness Pecow's testimony, with the exception of the county zoning map, but I believe that that now has been entered as County Exhibit 2.
Correct.
So let me just double check that they are attached to witness Pecow's testimony, but I believe they are. Docket number 55 is data request number 2. And let's see, that is data request 1 and 2 indeed are attached to witness Pecow's direct. So that would eliminate those. County response to PPRP data request number 3 is attached to witness Pecow's rebuttal, which has also been admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would then ask that I will candidly admit that it is not included in the list, but the testimony of the county witnesses that have been alluded to, I would ask that the direct testimony, which was pre-filed at mail log 319396, be marked as County Exhibit 3 and entered.
Okay, and I'd prefer to enter them separately. So what we will do is enter Crystal Dodd's testimony as County Exhibit 3. Leslie Grundon will be County Exhibit 4. And Matt Kaczynski will be County Exhibit 5.
Thank you.
And those were all filed under docket number 57 on June 4th.
Yes, June 4th.
Okay.
And then so we're up to 6, as Exhibit 6 marked and entered the rebuttal testimony of Leslie Grundon that was pre-filed at mail log 320255 on July 8, 2025.
Yep, that will be marked and entered as County's Exhibit 6.
And then the last one that I have, Your Honor, is what I've referred to as Chaberton's list of other sites in Caroline County, which Mr. Boswell testified to earlier, asked that that be marked and entered as Exhibit 7.
Okay.
Your Honor, I just note for that I believe was attached to Mr. Boswell's rebuttal.
So actually, I did double check that, and the
was it not?
supplemental
The supplemental
response was
okay.
not.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
So
apologize.
the original response was, but the supplemental was not included. So it will be the supplemental responses that were dated March 17th to responses to County DRs 1-2, and that will be marked and entered as the county's Exhibit 7. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Those are all of the exhibits.
Your exhibits, okay. Okay, and your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would call as my first witness Leslie Grundon.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under penalty of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Leslie Grundon, Leslie Grunden. My business address is 403 South 7th Street, Suite 210, Denton, Maryland.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ms. Grundon. As you heard with the other witnesses before, in this case, you have submitted direct testimony that was previously identified and entered into the record as County Exhibit Number 4. Was that testimony prepared by you and or under your direction?
Yes.
Is it true and accurate based upon your personal knowledge or to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes.
If you testified today in response to the same questions posed in the direct testimony that was previously submitted, would your testimony be substantially the same today?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or additions to your testimony?
No.
Your Honor, I tender the witness for questions.
Okay. Mr. Flavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple of questions. Oh, and I apologize. If I didn't hear it, did we address Ms. Grundon's rebuttal at this point? Or did you?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Flavin.
Thank you.
And Ms. Grundon, you also submitted rebuttal testimony that was previously identified as County Exhibit 6, mail log 320255. Was that also prepared under your direction and or control?
Yes.
It is true and accurate based upon your personal knowledge or to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes.
And if you testified today to the questions presented in your rebuttal, your testimony would be substantially the same?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or additions to your rebuttal testimony?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Flavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Ms. Grundon.
Hi.
I just have a couple questions for you. My name is Andy Flavin. I'm counsel on behalf of the applicant. Can I ask you to please turn to page 3 of your direct testimony?
Got it?
And starting at the top of the page, line 4, you discuss the Maryland land use article and its interaction with the county's comprehensive plan and the Sustainable Growth and Agricultural Preservation Act. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then if I can get you maybe to move down to line 19, still on page 3.
Mm-hmm.
You note that the county's 2010 comprehensive plan was amended in 2012 to add septic tiers and a mineral resources element as required by state law.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
And just to clarify, was that predicated by the enactment of the Sustainable Growth and Agricultural Preservation Act in 2012?
Yes, it was a requirement.
Okay. Thank you. May I next get you to turn to page 4 of your direct testimony, please?
Okay.
And starting really at the top there on line 1 and moving on into line 2, you state that the Chaberton site has been included in the town of Federalsburg's future land use maps as part of the Idlewild residential neighborhood.
Yes.
And further down on line 10, or starting on line 10, it's really towards the end of line 10, you note that the Chaberton site is included in the town's planning region on the northwest side of town and that the town intends, when appropriate, to annex for residential growth purposes.
Yes.
And you also identified that it's a generalized priority for annexation and future growth.
Yes.
You see that? Okay. The town hasn't formally initiated the annexation process with respect to the Chaberton site yet, right?
Right.
Okay. And let's see. Can I next get you to turn to page 9 of your direct testimony?
Got it?
Okay. And I'm looking at line 11. You state that the Chaberton site will be reclassified as Tier 2 for septic, right?
Yes.
And is it accurate, or am I right in that the Chaberton site was initially classified in 2012 as Tier 4 for septic?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And that initial classification as Tier 4, that was based on the requirement from the Sustainable
Growth Act. Growth in agriculture, yes.
Thank you. And when does the county expect that the reclassification of the Chaberton site to Tier 2 will be completed?
It will be done as part of our comprehensive plan update, which is in process now. Those we project that we'll be submitting our draft to the State Department of Planning in early 2026, next year, for review. And this would be incorporated in the land use chapter and as part of our discussion on future land use and growth.
And to make just to make sure I understood you correctly, you said you were planning to submit this the draft in early 2026 to the
Yes,
state.
most jurisdictions are going through their comp plan
Okay.
updates right now. Right.
And when so after you submit the draft, assuming it's in early 2026, do you have an idea about roughly you would expect it to become final?
The plan itself will go through state review. We can designate our septic tiers, which is an act, legislative act at the county level at any time, but we like to vet it through Department of Planning.
Certainly. And so when do you have an idea about when the Department of Planning would essentially finalize that?
Their review, it's generally a 30-day review, maybe 60, and we're looking at early part of 2026. So, but we would get their feedback verbally, and we'd be in discussion with them, particularly of the land use element. We tend to talk to them through the process of the plan, so that septic tier reassessment will go through them probably before we submit it. So we should have a good indication from them prior to our formal submittal of the draft. And depending on their response to it, there's nothing that would keep us from enacting that sooner.
And you mentioned the update to the comprehensive plan. When, assuming again you file the draft update in early 2026, when do you think the comprehensive plan would be final? After
Adopted?
It would be adopted, yes.
It would follow the state's review process, which is the clearinghouse agency review. That tends to take about 30 to 60 days as well. And then it would go through the county's legislative process through final approval and recommendation of the Planning Commission, and then up to the county commissioners, which is public hearing. So there's 4 weeks there, and then adoption. So that's about 2 or 3 months of a legislative process from the beginning of the clearinghouse review to the end of the county's process.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And I'm still on page 9 here, and on looking at line 14, you're still talking about this reclassification.
Mm-hmm.
You state that it allows for the potential for higher density, lower cost development that's made possible by access to public or community storage system, right?
Right.
And just to clarify, the development that the county is, the residential development that the county is envisioning potentially for this Chaberton site, that's medium to high density residential,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be affordable housing.
By nature of, you could almost call it a bulk pricing. You're able to build more on an R1 lot than you are on an R lot. So the economy of scale works for the developer, and that in turn also works for the consumer who's buying the house. So, and that depends on whether or not it's developed on septic or public sewer.
Okay, and would at this point is the county envisioning that would it be like single family residential or multifamily residential?
It could be single or multifamily.
It could be either. Okay.
Right.
And before leaving your direct testimony, just wanted to ask you briefly about annexation. As we discussed briefly, previously, you referenced the town's potential annexation of the Chaberton site,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the county responded to a data request from the PPRP regarding annexation, and I believe that was attached as to Ms. Pacow's surrebuttal testimony, and this is the county's response to PPRP data request 3-1, and you were one of the individuals, I believe, that was listed as responsible for the answer. Is that right?
Is this about timing of annexation?
It's about general annexation.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so, would it be fair to say that you're at a high level familiar with the annexation process?
Medium to high level.
Medium to high level.
Yes.
Okay. And I don't want to get into extensive detail on the process here. But I just want to note that the county's response to PPRP data request 3-1A, this is in the second paragraph of that response, acknowledges that the timing of the annexation process is dependent on multiple factors that are beyond the county's control, right?
Yes.
And one of those factors is how the annexation process is initiated, right?
Correct.
And the process could be initiated by the Chaberton property owner. It could be initiated by a neighboring property owner, if potentially, right?
If the neighboring property is proposing annexation. If the neighboring property further out from the boundary is proposing, and then you've got everybody in between, I'm not sure how that works, but I think that just, it's a more unwieldy annexation, so it could be a bit longer.
Understood. Thank you. That was going to be one of my next questions. Appreciate that. And also the process could be initiated by the town, right?
Yes. Yes.
And for a process that would be not initiated by the property owner, is there a requirement that there are a certain amount of signatures of the property owners who would be part of the annexation that are required?
Actually, it's within the town. I think it's 25%. I can find out. I don't have that info with me now, but I could find out and supply that for you.
No, I think I think you're correct.
Okay.
It's frankly it's all in the statute. I don't want to go into legal stuff.
Yeah,
with you
it's
here.
a little deep.
And the Chaberton owner hasn't initiated the annexation process yet, right? With
Not
respect
to
the
my
file?
knowledge.
Okay.
No.
And are you aware that if an annexation resolution is ultimately enacted, a referendum on the proposed annexation could be initiated?
Yes.
Okay. And so if the town were to annex the Chaberton property at some point in the future, however it goes through the appropriate process, that would not compel the Chaberton property owner to make that property available for residential development, right?
It would not. It would depend still on the zoning at that point. If it were annexed into the town by state law, it would need to retain its original zoning for 5 years unless the county were to agree to waive that zoning right or holding the zoning. But because it's identified as a residential annexation area, it would likely remain as residential development. So his limitation in town zoning would be the same as what our zoning is for residential development.
Understood. And I guess maybe to clarify, if the annexation process, that would bring the property within the town of Federalsburg if it were completed, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But annexation, if that were completed, that would not essentially condemn the property and force it to be used
No, it
as
would
a
not.
residential
It wouldn't
development.
compel him to go out and find a developer. No,
Okay.
it would not.
Thank you. And those are all my questions.
PPRP.
Good afternoon. I'm Sandra McLemore. I represent the Power Plant Research Program.
Hi.
And I just have a couple of questions. One is on your SIR rebuttal on page 4, where you indicate that Ms. Richardson had filed in her public comment on April 30 that the buffer area around her property for Chaberton relies almost exclusively on existing deciduous woodlands on her property to provide the visual buffering. Is that correct? Did I read that right?
You did read it right. But this area is actually not my expertise. It's Matt's.
Okay, and I can ask him the same question. I just have one question about that.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Based on your knowledge, does the county have any evidence that it is on her, any percentage of those trees is on Ms. Richardson's land?
I have no knowledge of that, so that would be
All right, thank
Matt.
you. And I have one other question. And it's about Mr. Boswell's testimony earlier on the community benefits and discussions with the county. Are you aware of any discussions ongoing?
Of the benefits that he described?
Yes.
I'm not aware of them.
Would that be someone else as well?
I think it would be Jesse.
Oh, okay. And you may not be able to answer this question too, but I'll see if you have any knowledge on it. Are you actually, are you familiar, going back to the zoning question, are you familiar with the reviewing state agency's recommended license conditions, specifically 10 and 11?
No, I'm not.
Okay, what they require
if we recommended that that the applicant go and get county approval for their site plan and also permits, et cetera. In that process, and I'm curious, in that process, do you look at the boundaries and verify them within any of those processes?
You mean boundaries of property boundaries?
Right. So if they came with you the concept plan and a site plan, is there any requirement to show that the boundaries are in fact under their control?
I'm 0 for 3 here. That's
okay.
That's
worries.
Matt.
No worries. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate
Sure.
it.
Sorry.
Staff have any questions?
No questions from staff, Your Honor.
I did have a couple questions. I'm going to refer to page 4 of your direct testimony. And I don't have the line number written right here, but on page 4, I can go back to it. The discussion was of the parcel being partially located in a growth area.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a map or somewhere you could direct me that shows where it's identified as being partially in a designated growth area?
It's in the town of Federalsburg's comprehensive plan. It's in their land use chapter. And in planning, particularly at the comprehensive plan level, which is policy and long-range growth discussion, future land use maps and future growth and annexation planning is done in an area concept. So you generally don't see an area depicted by actual property lines of properties. It's usually a shape. It's usually a circle. And the general radius in this area, you know, if you have to show a shaded area, you tend to keep it general and in a scope that shows these are the general parcels, and it touches the general parcels that the town would be interested in annexation possibilities. So it's depicted in a general way. As an area is more closely scrutinized, either because there's a development project or plan for them to look at, as they look at their infrastructure build-out rates, increase projections based on population, they begin to zero in more closely to those areas and begin to map out a more precise plan of annexation. But at the comprehensive plan level, which is where this map is located, it begins as a general identification of these are the areas where we want residential growth, this is where we want industrial growth, and so on.
So when you're saying in your testimony it's partially located?
Yes, it's within, it's half in one of the circles that is shaded as this is a residential growth area.
Okay, so
It's in it,
just,
but they haven't followed boundary lines. They're just
okay, so a
saying
portion of the parcel is located within one of those circles.
definitely within that circle. But that area indicates the general area surrounding that.
There was a map that was attached to Witness Boswell's reply testimony as a response to, I believe, county's DR 1-4, and it was attached to his rebuttal, which I have a copy of right here that I can show you. So, which looks like Town of Federalsburg, Maryland potential growth tiers for SB 236 is a map. It was attached as an attachment to Chaberton's 1-4 DR to the county, and I believe that's it.
Thank you.
In that map, I'm just trying to clarify, that map of growth tiers, is that the same as a map that would be included in the comprehensive plan?
I hate to sound vague, but sort of. These are septic tiers, which, like the county, they were required to designate as well. And the town is served by sewer. So I don't know if they have any remaining septic areas that are served by septic systems within the town. Maybe they do, but so they're showing, I presume these are some of their projected growth areas
For septic, not.
that are on septic that could, if they were to annex them in, they would need to be put on their sewer system. So I'm not sure, and I see where they say municipal growth area. I'm not sure what the origin of this is. I don't know that it was in their comprehensive plan.
Okay.
But this is just by looking at the tiers, this is a septic tier
Septic.
map and a planning map for septic tiers and areas they would look at that would potentially be put on the town sewer system if they were to be made growth areas.
And I know that you responded to Mr. Flavin, had some questions about the annexation process. Is reclassifying the septic tiers part of, does that have to be approved before the comprehensive plan is approved? Or is it
I think
part
it
of
can be part of the process and happen before the comprehensive plan is finally approved. I'm not 100% certain of that, but you review your septic tiers map as part of your comprehensive plan update, but it is a separate planning document or policy from the comprehensive plan.
So that would be done before the comprehensive plan was then to be included in the comprehensive plan for approval?
We would make it part of the comprehensive plan. The discussion for how the septic tiers would be determined takes place in the comprehensive plan's land use chapter. So that has to happen before you establish these are the reasons why we're designating these areas for septic or future sewer growth. So the land use chapter is discussed first. Once it's in final draft form, we can also proceed with the septic tiers map redesignation also.
Okay. And the septic tiers map redesignation is subject to state approval, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is annexation dependent on the reclassifying of the septic?
No.
So if the parcel was annexed and the property owner decided to pursue residential development, the septic reclassification would still have to occur, correct?
Actually, once it's annexed into town, the town owns a wastewater system and a water system. So any properties that are located within the town that are going to be developed would be developed with those two services provided to them.
So once annexed, it wouldn't have anything to do with
Septic.
tier
Right.
mapping. Thank you for clarifying. In DR response, and I think that was again to PPRP's DR number 3 about the annexation process, I believe there was in the response it said the town is currently experiencing substantial financial challenges, including significant loans for water and sewer infrastructure. How would that impact the timeline for completing water and sewer extensions?
I don't know enough about their financial problems to answer that, so it would depend, I'm sure, on the depth of those problems, but most towns have water and sewer debt, either from the original debt service for the facilities or for ongoing maintenance and upkeep. That's a fairly routine debt for towns to have, but I don't know the extent of their debt.
You gave, in your direct testimony, I believe it's on page 8, you cited a statewide shortage of housing units. Do you have any information about that for Caroline County?
We do have it, but I didn't bring it with me, but we can certainly provide it.
Bless you. Does the county have population, historical population data as well as projections?
We do. I
Growth?
can provide that to you as well.
And do you know whether Federalsburg has that information?
They should. The frequency of those estimates and projections is not as, simply because at the municipal level it's not as readily available as at the county or state level. So we could find that and provide that for you as best as we could.
In Chaberton's ERD, there was a statement that there hasn't been residential development in the vicinity of the project since the 1990s. Is that correct?
I would have to check that. I don't know. I don't have that data right here.
The rest of my questions were answered. So I don't have any other further questions. Are any questions in light of my questions?
Just two or three,
Okay.
Your Honor, briefly. Ms. Grundon, you were questioned earlier with regard to annexation and the time that it takes to annex property. Annexation of the Chaberton property would not be necessary or a prerequisite to residential development on the Chaberton property, is it?
It would not be
Thank you. So it could be residential
developed now.
now without annexation.
Yes.
Thank you. In your, Mr. Flavin asked with regard, I believe it was Mr. Flavin, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. With regard to the rebuttal testimony and the trees, the issue of the screening on Ms. Richeson's property, I believe in your rebuttal testimony you were referring to testimony that she gave at the public hearing, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And as part of the site plan review process, it would be anticipated that the applicant would provide actual on-the-ground plats that show where those trees are located, whether they're located on Ms. Richeson's property and the canopy overhangs the Chaberton property, or whether some of it's on Chaberton's property.
Yes.
Thank you. With regard to the town of Federalsburg's debt specific to water and sewer, generally speaking, the more subscribers the town has to its water and sewer, the more money the town generates.
Yes.
So the town of Federalsburg, to the extent that it needed more money to service its debt, would want more users?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
I do have one question in light of Mr. Hammock's question. Just to clarify, your response was that it could be developed now for residential use.
Yes, it could.
Would, though, the classification of septic limit the development of the property to single-family based on it not being connected to?
No, if it were to be redesignated as septic tier 2, then it would be limited only by the requirements for septic systems, which are state requirements, and that's the difference between development on septic and development on sewer, where you have to have a certain amount of square footage held in reserve for your septic drain field, which requires a larger amount of land. You know, an acre to between an acre and 2 acres.
As it's classified now, it
could be developed.
Facilitate low to moderate income housing.
Yes, it could facilitate low to moderate income housing.
That was my last question.
One question.
Go ahead.
And the county is obligated by state law to designate areas in the county for future growth regarding low and moderate income housing?
Yes, that was part of legislation passed last year and I think this year as well. Department of Housing and Community Development will be coming to all jurisdictions over the next year to assess what land we have available that offers potential opportunities for low and moderate income housing, which is entirely dependent on proximity to existing infrastructure and the ability to to build at a denser level on that public infrastructure. So we have to report that to them in the next year.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, I did have one additional question. In Caroline County, water and sewer, unlike perhaps many of the other counties on the Western Shore, is limited to the municipalities. Correct?
Yes, the county owns no public sewer or water facilities. We have a small water system in the southern part of the county that serves about 60 homes, but we have no public water and sewer infrastructure throughout the county.
The only public water and sewer infrastructure in proximity to Chaberton is Federalsburg.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, your next witness.
The county calls for its next witness, Crystal Dadds.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm under penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Crystal Dadds, CrystalDadds. My business address is 403 South 7th Street, Suite 210, Denton, Maryland, 21629.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Dadds, good afternoon.
Hello?
You are the director of Caroline County's Planning and Codes Department, correct?
Yes, I am.
And in that capacity, what it was previously marked and entered as County Exhibit 3, you provided direct testimony that was prepared either by you or under your direction, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And is that direct testimony true and accurate based upon your personal knowledge and or to the best of your knowledge and information?
Yes, it is.
If you testified today in response to the same questions posed in your direct testimony, would your testimony here today be substantially the same?
Yes.
Do you have any corrections or additions to your testimony?
No, I don't.
I don't believe Ms. Dadds provided any rebuttal, only we already dealt with the rebuttal, so I would tender the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Flavin.
Thank you, Your Honor. No questions.
Okay. Ms. McLemore.
No questions, Your Honor.
Staff.
No questions from staff, Your Honor.
I don't have any other questions either.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
As the county's final witness, Your Honor, we would call Matt Kaczynski.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm on the penalties of perjury that the statements made in this matter today are the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your name, spell your first and last name, and give us your business address.
Matt Kaczynski, MattKaczynski. Business address is 403 South 7th Street, Suite 210, Denton, Maryland, 21629.
Mr. Kaczynski, good afternoon.
How you doing?
Good. You, as with the two previous witnesses, provided testimony on behalf of Caroline County that has been previously marked and entered into the record as County Exhibit 5. Was that testimony prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes.
Is it true and accurate based upon your personal knowledge or to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
Yes.
If you testified today in response to the same questions posed in your direct testimony, would your testimony here today be substantially the same?
Yes.
And do you have any corrections or additions to your testimony?
I do not.
I tender the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Flavin, do you have cross-examination?
No questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. McLemore?
No questions, Your Honor.
No questions from staff, Your Honor.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
County has no further witnesses, Your Honor.
With that, I'm going to go through some bench data requests. I believe there were far as Chaberton, during Mr. Boswell's testimony, he was going to verify the number that was in the ERD about population growth in the area.
Yes, and Your Honor, I believe that was on page 4 of the
Page
ERD
4 of the
narrative.
ERD, correct.
Thank you.
So that'll be BDR. This will be BDR 1 to Chaberton. And question 2 was the process to get subscribers. There was, I believe, their testimony about how adjacent neighbors are contacted and how that process goes.
Yes. Thank you, Your Honor.
And let me just give you one more second. May have been a third question. I have written down the access driveway. That was I couldn't read my writing. I apologize. Whether the truck routing and the project will utilize that access road that is indicated on the map on the southern portion of the property, or will be confined to using the Idlewild entrance.
Thank you, Your Honor.
PPRP. What I'd like is there was an analysis provided in case number 9499, Morganek Road, which involved Kent County and Chestertown.
Yes,
And
Your
possible annexation of the parcel.
Honor. Okay.
With respect to population growth from the Maryland Department of Planning, projected numbers for Kent County and Chestertown. So testimony similar, I believe it was Dr. Hall testified in that matter. It doesn't need to be in the form of supplemental testimony, but data with respect to the projected population growth for Federalsburg and Caroline County. And with respect to the county, and this will be bench data request 3 to the county. I believe Witness Grundon did say there were projections available from Caroline County with regard to population growth and for Federalsburg as well, what is available. And I believe she stated there was data with respect to the housing shortage. So those 3 items. The second item to the county would be the most recent updated comprehensive plan for Caroline County, which I believe the update was 2012.
I believe
2010
was the
2010.
update. Sewer septic tiers, I believe, were
2012. So the most recent comprehensive plan, and also the most recent comprehensive plan for Federalsburg.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And I recognize that that may not be readily available. It might take a little bit of time. So do the parties believe they could get responses to those answers by August the 15th? Would be 2 weeks?
Yes.
Is that adequate? My proposed dates for briefs, for initial briefs, August 26th. That allows about a little more than a week in between the data responses. Is that too soon, or is it a request?
I'm traveling between the 19th and the 24th or 25th, depending on when I'm told we're going to be leaving to come home. We're going to be in New York. If we could push it back one additional week,
So September 2nd?
if that would be okay with Your Honor.
That's fine with me.
Thank you very
Is there
much.
any objection from anybody else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
No objection.
So September 2nd will be initial briefs. And then reply briefs will be September 16th. Okay. Are there any other issues that we have to address today?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you very much. We can go off the record.
Your
Thank you.
Honor.
Oh, what? Sorry.
Well, I wanted to just raise as a consideration the possibility of perhaps filing a second updated decommissioning plan and cost estimate. But then again, if you feel that's not necessary,
I think the
just thought I'd raise
testimony
that.
supports. I think
Okay.
the testimony supports the revised amount.
All right, thank you.
And yeah, and there will be another. It's part of the licensing conditions for prior to construction. If there does,
Exactly,
yes,
that's
it may be modified again.
Yes.
So I believe there's enough in the record. But thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we can go off the record. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brutal. Mr. Boswell, thank you. Yes, probably tomorrow. Travel safely.